This conference will now be recorded.
Hi team, welcome back. Day 19 of our Python training. So we were troubleshooting data-driven framework yesterday. We still had a few things stuck. So what I'm going to do, team, is go through that. I think one of the members worked hard maybe to fix it. We'll take a look at that. And if possible, I want to get into a little bit of API programming using Python. So Neeraja, is that you right? You mentioned?
Yes, Karthik.
I'm going to make
it. I just need 1 minute.
no problem. You can keep sharing. Anyone else wants to show, please let us know right away. Otherwise, after Neeraja, then I want to go ahead with the remaining portions.
I created in my work computer, so I sent.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, I can do it. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. So as soon as I have my test data file, I should be able to. Otherwise, controls. Okay, so here I use the data-driven one, and so this is a sample test data file that I have. So I have test case names so that we can have like multiple scenarios listed, and I added a flag whether to execute or not. So if I mark only one as yes and rest all as no, then only one will be executed. And this is the home value and down payment. And expected monthly payment, I have 3 values correct, and this value is a little bit wrong. So that I want to show if the test it captures the actual value, and if they both are not matching, then it should give me an error or a fail message in there in the spreadsheet. Okay, so I have Selenium WebDriver, and then I just added some notes so that so this one thing I did for string manipulations to get the value without $sign and that. I haven't done a deep dive, so I'm just gonna research it later. So first I created a web driver of my driver, which is Chrome, and then using a test data mortgage calculator. And since the file is sitting in the same location as the rest of my files, then I don't need to give the actual path of it. I can just specify that it is available inside of this itself. And then I have a web browser open. So I tried both Excel RD and Excel WT. So those are for reading and writing. And Open PY Excel, that one gives access to both of them. You can write and read and then save at the end also. So this one is better, I thought. So I started using this one. And then sheet active, and then I'm just trying to print the maximum number of rows. Okay, and then I went into that mortgage calculator. Because the first row has this test case headers, so I'm ignoring that first row, and from next row onward, I'm trying to capture those values. So test case number, and then a flag to execute or not. And then if the execute flag is set to yes, then I'm going to get the rest of the values into whatever that cell values into these 3 variables. And then I pass those values into the home value and then down payment and calculate button, and click on that. And once the page is refreshed, whatever is there in the PMI, I'm catching. In that label, I'm gonna capture that in actual PMI. After that, So this one is to change the value from this to a regular value, because from Excel sheet I'm able to get in the raw format only, not in the dollar format. So I just captured that. So this is one function I'm gonna research later. And there I'm printing, like executing the test case, whatever test case number is, with the values of home value and down payment and expected value. The actual PMI is I'm gonna display that value, PMI value. And then if those two values are equal, like the expected PMI and the actual PMI are equal, then I'm gonna add that value. So I'm gonna add that value under the actual value in the spreadsheet, as well as if these two values are equal, then it's gonna have a pass. Otherwise, it's gonna have a fail. And say initially the to execute flag, if it is not equal to y, if it is set to n or anything else other than y, it's gonna say not executing test case and then give the test case number. And in the status, I'm gonna just say it's not executed. So once those two things are done, I'm gonna close the browser and then save the location. Sorry, save the spreadsheet as. Any questions on this? Or
Very nice. I really like the code. In a lot of ways, team. If you notice, I have not got a chance to use some additional nice ways of programming, be it within print or within if. Very well structured. So this is good job. My question, let's go to the beginning ones at the top of the code. And I like the fact that you put your sample test data file also here in the comments, so it's easy to look. For currency formatting from, okay, you've put the Stack Overflow link. Okay. Can you open that Excel, test data.xls?
yeah, I'm just gonna save that. And at the end of the file, I also mentioned once that, because I'm writing these two values, so it's gonna capture the actual monthly payment as well as the status as either pass or fail. And I intentionally gave a wrong value here, so because the actual value is this one. So because these two are not matching, it's gonna have a fail status. And then third script is not executed because I don't want it to execute. So it just says it's not executed. It's neither pass nor fail. And then the last one should pass as well. Okay.
Your Eclipse, it's there, no? X6.
Yeah, I'm just trying to save this file.
No, one second. Go to Eclipse once.
Oh, sorry?
Go ahead.
Okay, hold on. I just need to save this to the location to execute.
But I saw it in Eclipse, that's what I was saying. If you go to Eclipse once, sorry, not Eclipse,
okay.
I'm so sorry. Go to your PyCharm. Meanwhile.
Oh, inside of PyCharm, is it?
Yeah, so here it's there. See the last file. Even if you double click here, the test data.xlsx.
Oh yeah, no, this one is an old file. I want with that particular name, so that's why.
So that's fine. So, but basically saying you can open it there.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the file initially looks like this without the actual value and the test status. But next time onwards, if I change anything, it's gonna just overwrite. It won't fail because the values are already there.
Does it change?
So this is how
the new value if it fails for the next time?
Yeah. If the test data, any of these things are changing, or if I change the values to execute flag, then it's gonna overwrite next time.
So how did we fix that dollar issue? So we're not entering dollar here, is it? In the column E?
Yeah, even if I make this a currency thing by changing the format, somehow when I'm getting that value inside, it is still displaying as a regular number only. It's not doing the dollar amount. So I changed it for now, but eventually all these things are going to be treated as the proper currency format. Okay, I'm going to execute it now.
And the issue we were having with, so this was working fine for mortgage calculator, correct? Bank rate was the other one we were trying. And there, I think it was a little some issues there. So decimals.
Yeah, I think we had problem with the float conversion. That's where like the mortgage PMI value that I got. If it is converted into float, then I was having trouble. So that's why I converted into string. So my main purpose is to compare whatever is there in the main sheet, right? So here I'm displaying with these values. This is the PMI, and like not executing
favor, please. Okay. So
Sorry?
I want to rerun this code by taking away the sleep command. Just comment the sleep command once and rerun it.
Which command you mean? This one?
Time.sleep is there now on line 66.
Oh, okay. This one?
Yes. Just want to see what is happening. Actually, it is good for us to put a hard wait because it is not loading the page.
Yeah, exactly. The other one is, I think we can do wait for a component also after refresh, but I haven't tried that. Geometry run. Let's see the test data once. I just wanted to show the values here. So this one passed, this one failed, and it's not executed, and this is passed.
1 second.
Okay.
So team, I just also wanted to mention this is test case here, right? Test case 1, 2, 3, 4, or test scenario. So the functionality of the application is not changing at all in what you're running, correct? So that is why I mentioned test data set. That data is only changing for me. The functionality remained the same. So when we go to keyword driven, of course, we will write the functionalities, then we can say test case. So in advice, it is absolutely fine. Some teams use it as test cases, but in general, we can call them as test data. Now, one question, this TC2, I thought you said column F will get updated onto column E, actual to expected. So that next time it passes. We're not doing that, correct?
No, sorry, I meant it is updating. Earlier, I did not have a value in actual this one. So these are like my expected values. So this is what I'm expecting. But if the actual value is not so matching with this one, then I'm going to have a failure. So just to show that I had a different value, but no, I'm not rewriting the expected values here.
Okay, I think it's just one additional step for your team. Just to update it. So that way what happens is sometimes team do note a combination of Selenium with Python or Java is not always used for testing only. It can be used for automation, and that is good. So just imagine if I copy this 4 and make about 100 and just keep changing my input data, and it'll actually go and get the actual. It'll fail with the first time, but you copy the actual into expected for the next time run. So it's preparing my test data, which is very, very good to what we're going to discuss next. This is a good code. Very nice to see. Let's go back once again to this code, please. Anyone else want to add inputs to this team? It's a good job. The way you parameterized everything, and it's nice. I like it. Even to see it's good. And what happened when we executed? We didn't do it, correct?
The second time, right? You want me to without the sleep time?
You want to close that Excel sheet because it's trying to update it.
I think it will still work, but let's close anyway.
If you're writing to an opened Excel, I don't know. if it will.
Oh, yeah.
I
True.
already opened an Excel and then it wants to write to it. You should try it. Maybe it will give you a runtime. Yeah, let's execute, please. You want to look at, click on pie chart, let it do. Actually. Is it refreshing the page on click?
Yeah, when you click on calculate, it is refreshing.
Then that's good.
Uh,
Yeah. Yes, please.
And somehow that extra window that you are getting, Karthik, no matter what values I add, with very less payment also, I was not able to get that. So I did not include that in my logic.
Is it? If it is something. Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. This is good. Thank you so much, Niraja, everyone who contributed. Very nice.
Thank you.
Inputs? Okay, let me go back to being the presenter. Niraja, thank you once again.
Thank you.
Right. So, the team, I want to talk a little bit about API. We're not going to go very much in depth, and but the importance is going to be significant, and especially to do with a lot of data. It's all about how applications communicate with each other, and this is where we're talking about API, application programming interface. So one of the best ways for us to learn API as a concept is this website that I've seen on Reqres.in. What it does is it helps me to play or simulate what we call as API responses with some dummy data. So Reqres.in, something I wanted to use to play. So it's got some dummy data play for API responses. Now we will look at what they mean. So primarily the concept is pretty much the same. Ooh, shivering here. Oops. So I have an application here. Let us say I have an application here. Now let us assume this is bbc.com. Right? And this application is saying, hey, log into my website or sign up to my website. So for sign up, bbc.com is giving me an option to say, you know what, if you have a Facebook account, use that. It's fine. Or if you have a Google account, use that, and that's fine. Now what is happening, BBC may not get the credentials for Facebook, username and user password, nor will they get for Gmail. What it will do is connect these two applications by having some content flowing, and basically saying that, you know what, one user is trying to sign in to Facebook. I am bbc.com and someone is trying to sign into my website using these credentials. Can you tell me if it is correct or not? Facebook will say, perfect, all good, go ahead. That is a confirmation for the request. Now, the same thing again, the question is coming from BBC for the second user to Google and saying, Google, is this user actually valid user? This is what he's signing up, or let him sign up with your account. And then the user is basically gone into their application and signed up. Now, when the return comes back here, it's saying, oops, don't. There's something wrong. I cannot give the permission to that. The way the data is flowing here is what is important. The data could be in multiple formats. It could be in an Excel file. It could be in a text file. It could be in a XML file. It could be in a JSON file, and so on. Now, what we're talking about are all these what we call as web services for our applications overall team. How we do RESTful APIs. So what we were earlier calling as more SOAP UI, web services, and so on. Now we are talking about REST API, REST commands. I'm not going into this as depth. My intent is to talk about a few commands and how we can do it from programming. So look at this now, for example, team. Here are few different types of commands. Basic API commands, REST commands. Let's see, RESTful API.NET HTTP methods. This is a good one. I don't know if I ever been to the link earlier, but it looks good. So there is get, where you're trying to get information from another application team. Okay. Then there is something called as post, where you're trying to put information into an application on the other side and put the differences there, how you can delete patch that you have, and so on. Those become the main ones, team. And what you want to make sure is what responses are we getting. So let's talk about get team first, and let's focus only on get to begin with. And here, document protection for us, we are reading the content, and basically it will give me a 200 code as a return, what we get. And if it gives me 200, then we've got a confirmation that everything is good. If I get a 404, then it's a problem. Now, what am I trying to do in Reqres.in? Everyone good team so far? What I'm trying to do out here is, if I look at this, this is where my API will come for listing all the users team. Do you see this command list users? That is one. Single user, that is another. Single user not found, this is another. So whenever I'm running a command, it will give me that information. And the data format in which it gives me is called JSON. Okay? And I want to talk basically about JSON a little bit more and what we can do. So here are a few commands, team. Get. So if I use this URL and pass this command, pass these details, I will have to get all this information. This lists all the users. Understanding team, there's some dummy data here. Here, I want to use single user, and it's giving me for user number 2. If I change this here to a different one, let's say user 3, and see if this works. Yeah, I will survey users 3. How about users 31? There's nothing there. So I'm looking at this content here in this way, in this methodology. Are you with me, team? We basically are sending a request and seeing what response we get from them. So if I have a single user and so, it will give me a response. Now see, like I said, user number 2 exists, and that is Janet Weaver. Janet. Single user not found is where I got an empty record. See, 23 also is not there. I went to 30, and that is a 404 error. Record not found. Nothing is there to return. And then there are more things to play around. How do I play around with this data? This is good. I have a URL. If I send a request, I'll get a response. How do I do that? You can do that from two ways, team. From what we try to do. The first is Postman. And I want you to all go to postman.com. I think I have Postman on my machine. And you need to download it. Product API platform. Wow, it has so much. API network. Okay. What we're trying to do, download free app. Get Postman for Windows team. This is what you're looking at, right, everyone? Postman.com/downloads. What it will do once I open it up, let me see if I have it. Yep. Once you download and install, I think you should be able to manage team. These couple of things at your end. Let's open it up. It's been at least 4 months since I worked on it. It is 3 months. Actually, it's latest. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to talk about how API works and how we will do the rest all these commands and agree. So Postman is an application team that you could, it's basically a desktop application that you have through which you can create commands to interact and get the API feed, everything out here. So what do I mean? The first thing I'm going to do is click on new and say I want request. There are a lot of things like collection and so on. We can put anything into a collection team. Collection is like a folder, imagine that. So let's say I say collection, this is by Jan underscore API, and nothing much into it. A lot of advanced features team. This is more like a brief overview on Postman, what it can do, and then take the same learning into a code level and execute it there. Okay, so just playing around. Collection of API requests using Postman. Now that's like a folder. In this, I don't have anything team. I could click and say add request. Do you notice this? And click on add request team. Just give it a name. I'll say request one. Select a collection where it's already there in PyJan API, or I can choose a new one if I want to. Save to PyJan. So you will notice that there are responses that will create here, or requests, sorry. And similarly, there were some more that I created here. This could have been an older one. But let's see this. This is playing around with similar things. Okay. All right. Now see, the command that I have here is my interface in all this area. I enter the details here and send the request, and I should see my response coming. What are the details and what comes out. So I can choose if I'm doing a get, a post, a put towards existing patch, updating that, delete, and so on. Now, only some of these are API commands team, and then it can do a lot of other things overall you will see as part of what Postman can do. Our focus is on the API part of it. The first thing is let's get the basic URL that we have. So let's start with the beginning. Please do play around in the same way, it helps easily. So list users, once I said, this is my URL team. So if you see on the bottom left corner, like in the tooltip that's coming on mouse over, the alt text, not alt text tooltip itself. So that is the overall URL. So I'm saying copy link address. I'm going to put that here. And when I send this as is, it's sending, and it gives me a status 200 OK team. And the result that I get is a large JSON data. I'll talk about this format in a brief, but this is my response, what I get over status and the content itself, which you'll see it's in a JSON format. Now the same, you could say that how do I want to see it in text or HTML and so on. This is the feature that primarily Postman gives us. I don't. Is it even doing? Okay, that's fine. Now let's try. It says users page 1. I don't know what page 2 is. Let's play around and see what this is doing. Even that is giving me what it's called the users page 1, but only a couple of things there. Let's try one more. Single user. So this is the URL. Copy link address. Where am I? Here. So that's Rec 1. So let's create one more. So right click now. Add Rec. Let's say Rec 2. Rec 2. So that was the first one. Say. So here is the new one. Users 2. So all the content that I need to send as of now is going in this format. Okay, in the URL itself, I'm getting it. But when I have to send some content, you will see how we send it. Sometimes username, passwords, and all this data. So user 2 works 200. Okay, I get the ID, email, first name, last name, all this content for that. Same way, if I rerun this for user, let's do 18 maybe and see if it exists. 404 not found. So there is no user 18, maybe 11. I don't know how many users are there. Just saying how it works. 200. Okay, that is what I'm looking for. 404 not found is not what I want. That I'm trying to get content. Now let's add one more thing. Learn more about creating collections. I am learning. Check the it is in the same collection. Set to Python API. Good. The rec 2, I want to make sure it fails. Let's keep it there and send. And so basically it gives us nothing. And 404 not found. Now the third request, what you want to do from here, a lot of this post, put and patch and all that, I'll show you team. We'll try at least creating one through this and then through the code. Let's do one more single resource. Okay, single. What is this? Unknown 2, not found. Okay, list resource. So there's a user and resources team. Okay, so two different. Think of it as two different databases. I have a list of all users, one single user who's not found, list of all resources, one single resource that is not found, and will give me a 404 response. Okay, so let's try the single resource. Copy this. So what's important so far, if you notice, getting just using the URL so far and saying send. I get this. What if I change this to 25? I don't know. There's a resource 25 there. Doesn't look like. So 2 works, and that's another way to put it. Now, observe what happens in post team. So, in your post command, So post, you need access to the database also, but if it gets posted in the database, then it will give me a response like this. And it says that it got created. If it could not create, then it's a problem. See, for example, this post, login unsuccessful, then it will say 400 error, whatever we say. Login successful, username, password, that's good. For app login, let me see. Body, JSON. Oh no, I'm doing it in the wrong thing. For this post with JSON data. So I'm sending that data in a specific format which it understands. So for this, in the body that I'm sending, my raw JSON, and I will paste this content here. So what am I trying to do? Just doing a post of login team. That's my request. Copy link address, and here see copy link address, and if I send this with this detail, it should give me a 200 response and a token that he has logged in. Let's see. 200 okay, and it gave me a lot more content than I wanted. What if I change the password and try again? What? What did it give me? It gave me everything. So this, I'm doing something wrong. Let's see. This is this request. This is done. And here is a new one. Oh yeah.
Aren't we supposed to do the post?
I'm doing a get for this. So now I'm trying to post it. Get, what is it doing? It's trying to do as is. Now how do I undo this? This is done. Okay, 200. Okay, and I get a token. This token seems to be exactly the same that I see here. Z7x4 QPW at the beginning. So wow. Okay. Now that is dummy data because this website is just helping us to learn. So we posted with the email and password that is correct, and if I change this 200 OK, should be 400 back request error user not found. Now if I change this password and then post, oops, how did it do with a bad password? That's not correct as well. Post with a bad password gave me a 200 OK. Why would you? Because the database may not. Let's see the database. Login successful. Login is what we're doing. Let's see what login unsuccessful is doing. Just email, password, missing password comes, is it? Okay. So basically, we're deleting this in this case. And run missing password. So those are the responses that we get. So if I keep it as is and keep everything and send works fine. Change the email, add request 400. Come on. Change the password. It doesn't care. Still signs in somehow because it's not there, the functionality for it. But if I delete the password, it says missing password. Now, what you have not seen is basically the format of a JSON file. We'll look into that and how we can run these commands from our Python programs, the same things. So that's one request. Let's rename this team. I think we can rename it. Red 4 post with JSON for data. So all that we did, and we could do the same thing for, we've done this, right? Register is there successful. For registering, maybe almost similar, and we're getting a different one. So let's try this just for the practice of it. So what am I doing? Clicking add request, like 5 post only. Which post I want to do? Register. Okay. Now let's make sure I go here. By default it's get, and now we're doing the post. And copy the URL. Should be pasted. Go to your body. That's where you're sending input. So this is your input side. This is your output side. And here I'm giving raw data in a JSON format. That is what this application is taking, and all APIs. And if I say that, hey, register with password pistol and send this, everything correct, it should be okay. Now, if I play around and do the same, it should say, you know what, missing password. So, and I do it here, say missing email. So those are what at that end is getting verified, missing email or user. So that's what we're trying to experiment with. Now, all of this is done with Postman, and that's great. As a manual user or something, I can run requests and do quick verifications, what's happening, you know. How do I do the same in PyCharm? So, PyCharm, what we're doing, team, is first let's look at what is JSON as a format. Team, another 10 minutes, we'll do a quick round on JSON format, and I'll write a couple of code. I'll have a copy paste also. We'll make some progress there. So remember lists, just to recollect our memory, used to store data. I can put anything, it can be repetitive and any format that you want. And I can go one by one and read content out of list, print every item in the list, or print the last item in the list, and you know, different things that we were able to do. We could append to a list, we could insert, remove, pop. These were the things we could do to a list. And in fact, that is the same thing you can do to any data team. That is what we call as CRUD operations, or CRUD, not CRUD operations. So CRUD is create, read, update, delete. Okay. And any database, anything that is holding data has to have that capability where I can create, read it, update it, and delete it. And that's the same CRUD operations that we're looking at here. Now, if we go into the format of tuples, the primary difference between the fact that we want to keep the data consistent, we don't want to change it. That's the only difference between a list and tuple. Now, when it comes to a dictionary, things become interesting. That is where we use a key value pair. A key value pair gives me the ability to say position is not important. I will tell the name of the key, it should get me the value. So what does it mean? If I say KK, then it should give me 123. How did I do that? By, it's here the first one. H is 10, W is 20, L is 5. Now the same dictionary, if I can write a little better, see, so that we can see content, is to store that data like this. Okay. So this is also a better way to put it, where my height is 10, width is 20, length is 5. This is your dictionary, and that's your key value pair. At any time, you can call that by just saying what is the value that you seek for which key. So is it height, width, or length? And we have our print statements corresponding. So if I run this now, so it's a class dictionary. This is my overall thing. It's a class dictionary 1025. I have those values, and you can continue to change them. That is the idea of it. So in this, what did I do? Different one. Nothing much there. Nested dictionary. Now, what happens if I want to have multiple users on the same one? So this is one way of nested dictionary, right? So here, let me talk about JSON. So I'll say dictionary one, or if I say all users, and I already have the key is n for name, and the value that I'm giving, what did we give? Is KK. Let's start with A, for example. And this is 1. Okay. And then I have name. No. This is the waiting number. And here I'll put 2. Now here is one set of data. What we're trying to do in nested dictionary, I'm saying each one belongs to one user. So here I'm trying to join them together and make it under one user team. Why am I doing that? So I'm saying all this is one user called U1 is this content here. Just want to make sure everything's right here. 1 second. And this. I have to do it in quotes, and this is as is, then I have a comma. That's good. U1 quotes and quotes. That's my first user. I'm just putting a better formatting. That way it's pretty much should be legible for us when we're looking at content. So that's my users. Now comes my next user. That's YouTube. That's small instead of data. B, that this is 2T, and this is 1. So this way, I'm able to go deeper and say that, hey, you know what? I can say which user and what content in it. So anytime I want to read or use data, I just say print all users. In this, we're saying U1 in quotes because the data, and I want the number for U1. And I get it for 2. And I redo this. Get 2. So just your content, how you store it. It was necessary team for me to revise nested dictionary because now JSON will become easy for me. Now, these are your different users. See, it doesn't have to be different because it's not a tuple, and you have this. What am I trying to say here? Come on, guys. Team, I don't think we have enough time, so I want to quickly show you. Now, how does the JSON format look, team? w3schools.com. JSON. Let's just show you sample. So basically, it's called as a JavaScript object notation, and the content, if you'll see this here, exactly almost the same like what we saw as a dictionary in Python. So for us, it is very easy to be able to now work with a JSON file. So let me show you a sample JSON file to download. There's nothing much here to worry too much to begin with. Sample JSON files. Very nice. I'm trying to take something that's easy for us to look at. Let's just saw one splitting. Up all the way at the top and then slowly go the first. Second looks easy. Okay, let's take this, for example, and save this. Where is the Reqres.in? Okay. Just use this. This is also the same thing. Let's do that too. So I'm going to go to our folder. I'm putting everything ready for now. Oops, no, not everything. Okay, right. Create a new text file, team. Basically, that's what we're trying to do, and we'll save it as .json. That's it. JSON1. Okay. The idea is only to understand the content. Actually, it's not in a great format. This one, take the one from Reqres itself. That's exact format. It's JSON2 actually. JSON1, let's do simple. single user and so this is my data in a JSON format, exactly similar to how we will see in our dictionary in Python. So I have a name as a key value for this set of data, and the username is ID is 2, email is so and so, first name, last name, avatar, all having the values. The same JSON file, when I have multiple, so I'll say data, there's only subtle difference of the square bracket at the beginning and end, separated by comma, ID is different, 7, 8, 9, and so on. And each one has its own content. So it is your key name and the value for that key. Anytime you want, you could get the data. Go as deep as you want with it. Now, to be able to do that same at a code level team, what do you 44 JSON? One is you can. I actually took a code team that will make it easier. I felt for today. Let's see the first one. So, team, it should be inbuilt for you. I don't think you need pip install JSON for this. Let's try it. I don't think so. Nothing. Yeah, it should be inbuilt. So primarily, here's my data, J1, and the content as to what is there in it. ID is 1, name is A, and so on. I could also put this in double quotes, team. It should not affect the way the data is looked at. If I can, the code. So yeah, let me take it into double quote. Let me run this first. Class is string. Basically did not recognize it. And that is why I think I need to talk about this load function here. So unless I use specifically these statements, I have my inbuilt data. When I say my JSON, JSON.loads, here is where JSON data is loaded into my JSON. Now let's rerun this. I want to show you also the fact that it becomes the dictionary for us. Yes, see, now it comes to being a dict at this point. So as is, I'm not able to read this content. I want to convert it into a decent dictionary. So when I say JSON.loads JSON, it's getting me into a dictionary, or sometimes it could be nested also. Nested dictionary format. Then I can go specifically and say what ID, what name. Okay. Now, this is for JSON data that is inside your code. But let us say my for JSON data in an external .json file. This is how we do. We use actually load. That is one thing I remember. For regular, we use loads built in the script. For getting it from a file, we use load command. This is the main command. So what it means is, if I gave that my J1 or J1 I'm using, if I say J2 equals the path to this file, let's use JSON1 to begin with. And now I'll say my JSON to almost same thing. Just rename this. Before that, I'll say my JSON 2 equals JSON.load, JSON dot and all the commands. So see, we have load and loads. Now I'm using load, and in here I have to give the path, I believe. This FP means file path, I believe. So I'm saying J2, where J2 is. Backslash for everything. Backslash V is one of the escape characters, special characters. So we're reading. Now I'm saying my JSON 2. Let's print my JSON 2 also. And my JSON 2, don't get confused between that and this team, is data ID. So here, data ID. This is correct. That's saved. The format has to be correct. When you make a mess with JSON format, then the application or tool that is reading it may not read it completely. So this won't work. Let's see here if it works. String operators no attribute read. Let's see when it happened. Line 293, 44, line 16. My JSON 2, JSON2.load, string attribute, ID 1, name AA, class dict. So that was the first one. Let's see what mistake did I do. Get JSON. Oh, there you go. It's just not the path key. I need to say open command as well. I'm opening it for read only. So here I'm opening this file. So remember how we used to do the file handling? So f1.open, f1.write and close. Right? F1 open. So putting that here. Open. So that becomes file J2. And then we're giving the file itself. Sorry, it's not .text. Oh no, team, it should not be .text, it should be .json. That's important. I'm putting save it as json.1.text. See, it's here json1 file. Okay, I don't want the other one. Let's close that. I'll be done in another 2-3 minutes, team. With this and json2 .json all files save. So I have these two and delete oops. Okay, JSON1 text file delete, JSON2 text file delete. I have two JSON files. Okay. And now let's make sure that path also here. JSON. Let's run. J2, everything looks so far. Sorry team for the extended class today. So I get the content. Now the same thing, if I'm pointing it to JSON 2 and the different file, let's make sure that content is also correct. Edit in text format, notepad format only. See, I have data, and then I can print anything like ID. What am I printing here? Data and ID. So data is there, ID will come. ID will come. Let's see. You can give me a second. Yeah, that's a problem because we could not connect. Any questions so far, team? Sorry, I'm back. All right, team. So now, so far, what we have done is learned how to do JSON within our code. Not yet, we're not done to the second file yet, but we will do that in the next session, team. And then how do we call those API commands at a code level? Some Python programs. Let's look at that. All right, team. That's it from my side for today. Yes, I was on mute for a couple of minutes. The video from yesterday is not yet put in YouTube. I don't know if it's put on website. Can you just please ping Pawan in the group? He will put it back for us. And I will take this video. I'll try and put at least both of these videos temporarily in YouTube so that you can watch. It's today. It's much more interesting. I hope. All right. Thank you, everyone. So I think one more session, we should reach a good shape, and we will see what next. Bye, everyone. Have a good evening.